never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never know if it'll change your life. Take a chance.
All right, listen up, all you clueless berks and bashers out there. We're going to give you the dark about Planescape 5e and Turn of Fortune's Wheel. So pike it and buckle in.
That was pretty good, Matt. I always tried to throw in a little sigil slang when I was running my Planescape games, but even more so than like cyberpunk slang, it does not roll off the tongue for me. But yeah, here we are. We are back in sigil, back in Planescape. Yeah. We're
park your ears and grab yourself a bubber. That's a drink. Hello.
You might be aware. Well, first, this is Dungeon Master of None, and I'm Dungeon Master Rob.
And I'm Matt, and we're talking about the new release from Wizards of the Coast for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, Planescape box set, Adventures in the Multiverse.
That's right. We've got 3, count them, folks, 3 full books here. Mm-hmm. A setting guide to Sigil and the Outlands, a monster manual of sorts, Mort's Planar Parade, and then a full asterisk adventure, Turn of Fortune's Wheel, and together with their powers combined, like a Triforce, they make Planescape Adventures in the Multiverse. And tonight,
rule of threes, Rob. Rule of threes.
That's right. Rule of threes. Never forget the rule of threes. Tonight we are going to.
If you get the physical copy, you get a really nice DM screen.
Ooh.
I like it. It might be my favorite part of this because while books 1 and 2, the setting guide and the bestiary, I have some quibbles with them. I have some things I like. They're mostly fine.
We are going to focus most of our efforts on the adventure, Turn of Fortune's Wheel. We will probably cover the first 2, but they're, like Matt said, they're fine. They don't really... I didn't find anything that was particularly new or innovative. I did not compare them one-to-one to the old Planescape books that I had, but I didn't see a lot that was new, so I don't have a whole ton to talk about.
Right. It's a lot of the same stuff you would get in the 2nd edition campaign setting or Guide to the Outlands or In the Cage, Sigil, the other books you already had. So a lot of it's been remixed. Some things have been changed, but not all of it's a downgrade. It's more of just a sidestep,
Yeah, and if you don't have them and you do want to run a Planescape game, you can get them for cheap or free. And I would encourage you to do so rather than buy this box set. Contrary to what you may believe, it actually brings me no pleasure to be a hater, but I'm afraid, Matt, that I kind of gotta be. I have to be a hater about this because I have some problems with, specifically with the adventure that we're going to talk about, but with the whole shebang.
The people that wrote this adventure should retire to a pleasant place, to the top of Mount Elysium, and sit and contemplate adventure design for a couple of lifetimes and then come back and write a new adventure. Because this one, while there's some interesting things, it is overall like a complete failure at every level to deliver on its promises, to create exciting play at the table, to promote player agency, basically by any like rubric or standard for an adventure I can imagine. This one sucks. And I hate to say it. You hate to say it.
Yeah, I really don't enjoy it. I have read, out of curiosity, I've read adventures that were bad, that were written poorly, and also like had weird like sexism or racism or misogyny in them. I don't think I have ever read one that failed so thoroughly as an adventure. Like all of those others, you could have taken things out and it would still have, had all of the component pieces of a campaign. This this fails. This barely even takes the shape of a campaign. It is shockingly inept. I'm we're gonna talk about it, but it continues to sort of like boggle my mind that this exists. That this was published by
Does it
Wizards.
make it past editors?
And the thing is, sorry, again, I don't like being a hater, but to be clear, Matt and I have talked about almost all of the adventures that have come out in the past 2 or 3 years, and some of them were very good, and most of them were pretty good. I don't think there was more than 1 or 2 that I didn't like, and the ones I didn't like, I think they mostly just needed a little bit of work. Or they
and
weren't to my
all
taste.
published adventures need a little bit of work.
Yeah.
But this is the difference between one that, oh, hey, I like this. Here's some things I need to do to make it work at my table. And then there's this one where you could put in a lot of work to fix this adventure. But, boy, it is just... The things in the adventure make things worse for you in every way. So there's very little to take from this. I think this is the point in a normal episode where Rob and I would say, now that we've talked about the rest of the box set, spoilers for the adventure. If someone's going to run this for you, you might want to tune out. But, I hope no one runs this for you.
Yeah.
I wish that good upon you, listeners.
Yeah, I guess spoilers, if somebody or is going to run this, maybe they're bolder than we are. But, yeah, boy, I hope no one runs this. There's better things to do with your time. There's so many better adventures to run.
So, like, if you read the tagline or even, like, the press, man, there's a real problem with, like, I'm not going to name names or anything, but, like, popular websites that, like, review adventures. They'll say things like, it's a plane-hopping campaign with exciting twists that where you unlock the secrets of the multiverse. I'm like, did you read the adventure? You did not. It is not that. That's what it bills itself as.
Wizard stenography is what that is. That's just literally repeating the press release because that does not happen in this adventure. That's not true.
Yeah, Rob, do you want to know what else doesn't happen in this adventure? in Planescape with portals and planar travel? Can you guess what is the thing that does not happen?
I thought we were going to get to this. You do not actually travel to any other planes.
Yep.
The adventure takes place entirely in Sigil and the Outlands.
Now, to be fair, you do go through portals to go from Sigil to the Outlands, but as written, you will not leave that plane of existence, which again,
Planescape, folks.
But I mean, even that is honestly fine. That's not the big problem with this adventure. So I guess one of us should try and summarize what the adventure is.
Death is a doorway. We shed one skin and put on another and leap.
So before we begin, Matt, I want to talk a little bit about the physicist Hugh Everett. Because I think this is important. So okay. Hugh Everett is responsible for, he's an expert in quantum mechanics, and he's responsible for coming up with the many worlds hypothesis, which explains the weird way that our universe works at the quantum level and tries to use math to explain, what exactly is happening. And one of the sort of mathematical conclusions that Hugh Everett comes to is for lack of a better term, a multiverse, many worlds, right? An infinite number of realities, right? And the math on this is very complicated. I don't understand it. I'm just telling you what I have read.
Yeah.
Marvel gets a hold of this in the 1960s. Right. And the very first sort of multiverse stories begin appearing. I think Human Torch is like the first one to have like a real, I have an alternate ego. Anyway, so this presents us with the idea of the multiverse, which we are now unfortunately subjected to in every popular media franchise from now until time eternal.
Everything has a multiverse, right? DC, Marvel.
Yes.
There's multiverses of madness. There's ones with big stadiums.
That's right.
If I remember the Flash
There's
movie.
good multiverses. There's everything everywhere all at once. Like it's it's not a terrible idea. I kind of liked it when it was a little bit more esoteric and it wasn't just like a tool to I don't know, do alternate Earth shit. But whatever, it's fine. The point I'm making here is that this is not actually precisely what Planescape has always been.
Right.
Now, Planescape, the Planescape cosmology does posit that there are a infinite number or near infinite number of planes, but they're not, it's not like this, but it's not explicitly like they're just like this one, except you stepped on a bug and, now buses fly or something in this world. It's like, This is a plane of fire. This is a plane of ice. This is a chaotic evil plane. This is a chaotic good plane. This is the plane of beasts. Each plane in the multiverse of Planescape, has a sort of like a theme, and that's not like better, but it's different, right?
You could say it's a multiverse in the fact that there are multiple universes.
Right.
Each plane is kind of its own universe.
So
but
why am I
it's
talking
like
about
one
this?
of them's hell,
Yes, exactly. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because it feels like, and by feels like I mean it's explicit, that the writers of this adventure just heard multiverse and were like, oh, let's tell a multiverse story where your player characters have like versions of themselves that pop in and out of reality, like they're in Spider-Man 2 Adventures in the Multiverse or whatever. And that's not like explicitly against the rules of Planescape, but it's against the spirit of it, in my opinion.
Yes.
So sorry, I apologize for hijacking the podcast, but like this is nerd shit
this
that
is
I'm
a
really,
great point.
really annoyed about.
The basic conceit of the adventure, and listeners, don't get too excited because
no, it's bad.
We'll talk about why it's bad in this adventure, even though I think the conceit is kind of cool, is that your player characters are unique in this multiverse, in Planescape. They're glitches. Mm-hmm. No matter how they die or where they die, another version of themselves will show up very, very soon. They're like immortal, but when they die, it only some essence of them survives. Right.
They come back, but like a little different.
Exactly. Right. It's like a different version of yourself, and that to me is a cool concept for a campaign.
It is cool. I generally like.
It's absolutely a brilliant idea. It gives you, as the dungeon master, license to kill their characters sometimes more arbitrarily than you normally would.
Yes. It basically gives them, I think you're told as a player to create 3, but you could create 10. You could basically make an infinite number, and it gives it means that game can be more lethal, but like without it being unpleasant, because basically you die and shortly thereafter like another version or a very a glitch version of you, an incarnation of your PC appears basically right where you are.
The point that you made with your long story about you or whatever is a good one, in that this doesn't really there's nothing Planescapey about that in and of itself. Like, you could do this in a normal campaign world, I think, just as effectively, or not more. Now, before listeners write in with some deep lore about how if you go into the deep plane of shadow or the Shadowfell, it actually connects to another completely different version of the entire D&D cosmology, that where things are different. Yes, sure. That does exist, but it's not
whatever.
It's not interacted with in any way. And here's the basic problem of this adventure: is this, we will admit, is a very cool idea.
Yeah.
Your players have many versions of themselves, and a new one always appears when they die. The adventure does nothing with this conceit except give your players a level jump at the very end, in a way that doesn't completely make sense.
And it feels like they put this in here because they want players to think that they are in the Loki TV show, or that they are, again, in the new animated Spider-Man or something. But not only does like Planescape not really lend itself to that, but like Matt said, the adventure does zilch nothing with this conceit. And I am annoyed and frustrated by it because it feels like a very lazy attempt to appeal to multiverse madness, which people are already tired of, including and especially me. And I'm just like, what? It just, like so many things in this adventure, it feels cynical and lazy and half-baked, and I'm annoyed about it.
Yeah, it's so lazy because there are so many cool things you can do with a concept for a campaign like this. Like, the most obvious one that, like, I expected right after I read it is like, well, I guess when they go to location 2, 3, maybe 5 in the adventure, the next node or whatever, a guy will show up and be like, hey, you old so-and-so, or
Right.
be like, you fuckers, you trampled my vegetables last time you were here.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a Planescape version of that. Maybe it's an all-knowing Sphinx that says, I've seen your incarnation, but never happens.
Nope.
Not once.
Nope.
Not once do the players ever meet past consequences of their former lives' actions.
Yeah. Let's jump into the chapter 1. Let's just get started so that we can put some context around this.
I was going to say, let's give the listeners the summary of the adventure, but the thing is, the adventure doesn't give you the summary of the adventure.
It doesn't.
So also, fuck you, listeners. We didn't get it until we read the whole thing, so neither will you.
I wrote this down as a complaint, but I'm like, don't tell me what this is about at the end. Tell me at the beginning so I know what I'm reading. But don't worry, it won't help. It wouldn't help us to tell you the summary because it doesn't really make any sense. And also, I have another complaint that I want to get out of the way before I let Matt take over, which is the very first thing that happens is you're dead. You wake up in the mortuary.
Where have I seen this before?
Where you are greeted by Mort, the floating skull. Hey,
Who?
You remember Mort?
Mort
from the 1999 classic CRPG Planescape Torment, right? No?
Yeah.
What are you talking?
Yeah.
I have said this 1,000 times before, and this is the question I find myself asking so often with new Wizards Adventures, which is, who is this for? Right. If you are old enough, like me, just barely, to have played Planescape Torment, I never finished it, by the way, because I was too stupid at 12 or 13. Point is, it was hard. It was hard. Yeah, if you're as old as I am, you're probably not going to like this adventure. If you're young, a new player, you're going to be like, who's this talking skull? Why do I care about this? Like, this fan service feels like weirdly, again, who is it for?
Right.
If you think that maybe Mort is important to the campaign or the adventure, no, he's not. He just says, hey, wake up. He says some funny things and then he leaves. It goes without saying that this is exactly how Planescape Torment starts and goes. Yeah. And I'm like, did you think I wouldn't notice that it's literally the plot of Planescape Torment? Because your players don't remember anything. Anyway, sorry, that's it. I'm done.
Also, so I guess you could say, Rob, that, okay, the enhanced edition of Planescape Torment came out just a few years ago, I think 6 or so.
True, they did re-release it. That's
and
fair.
It did sell 400,000 units.
That's true.
A lot of people played it, and I'm sure we'll get the reference. But for me, references to canon like this in a D&D adventure where they're just there for a wink and a nod are what's the point? What is the joy or fun you're going to get at your table out of this? Are your players going to fucking roll on the ground, start laughing and pissing themselves, being like, oh my God, I can't believe Mort's in this adventure? My reaction would be it's the guy from the thing. It only works in a he's entertaining when I'm sitting at my computer by myself.
Entertaining or does well or does something well. And I'll admit to being tickled by a cameo or something here and there. But this it needs to like feel like it has a purpose. It needs to not just feel like, hey, look, here's a guy. And
also,
remember this guy?
Cynical and lazy as your keywords. The laziness is Mort is given, you're given no character growth for Mort. Like,
Right.
I think it's assumed he will be your companion throughout the entire adventure. After chapter 1, there's no more information about Mort. You get a different talking skull later on. And like, I would expect there would be like at different, like, in, chapter changes in the book or arc changes, it would be like, Mort now, this change is happening. Here's how to role play Mort over an entire like 10 level campaign. And there's nothing for that.
Nothing.
He's there at the beginning as a joke, and I guess he'll be around for the rest if you need to make jokes. So it's exactly like Planescape Torment. You start in a dungeon. It belongs to the Dustman. It's the mortuary in Sigil. This dungeon sucks. It's a bad layout for a dungeon.
It's a bad dungeon. It's very boring. There are no clues to what's going on. You don't have any goals besides escaping. You can find a bunch of papers that have causes of death for the various bodies in the mortuary, including yours, because you wake up from being dead. And if you look up your own, guess what? It says no cause of death listed. So for all your effort, you're provided with no clues. There's literally nothing interesting in here. There's no interesting loot. There's no interesting encounters. It's just a big waste of time. It's just a big time waster. If you do loot the dungeon, there are circumstances coming up where it would be good to have a little bit of extra cash on hand. So it's not like it's like completely unrewarding to do so, but there's nothing here that's important. You're a player who is role playing, in my opinion, any sort of like reasonable, rational being will just try to leave, and they can. And I can't think of any reason why you would tell them not to just leave through the main hallway.
The main hallway to get out, which it also reminds us that the Dustmen are the dumbest faction because they've built their mortuary where the only way to get to half of it is to walk through the crematorium, which they've instructed their dumbest servant to turn on sometimes. Like, I'm fine with having a hallway that the players stumble in and a funny zombie says, "Oh, time to turn on the crematorium," and your players get roasted to death. But it's literally the only hallway. Like, why does the person who has their like office, down there be like, I have to go through a hallway every single day that I might get incinerated in to get to my office? And again, there is nothing for the players to find here that could give them any clue or meaning about the adventure. So like investigating or wandering around this dungeon is completely pointless. It will teach your players, if they run through it, that you should wait for the next thing to tell you what to do and just try and get out of the situation you're in as quickly as possible, because there's nothing interesting to be investigated. And also, does this glitch thing make sense, Rob? Sometimes when they die, the like another incarnation of them appears, but when they've died this time, they just wake up from being dead. I mean, what are the rules of the glitch? I mean, it should have some rules, only for the reason that the player characters will want to figure out why they have this glitch.
I had the same question. I can't tell. I can't tell from the adventure. Let's leave the
chapter
mortuary.
2. They get out of the mortuary, exploring Sigil. So the characters emerge with a cool mystery, right? Because we said the conceit of this campaign is cool. Who am I? Why did I die? Or did I really die? There is nothing in the published materials that provides any information for interested player characters to investigate this or in any way meaningfully engage on their own agency with the central conceit of the campaign. Instead, a guide shows up and tells them where to go.
A guide shows up, a spunky Barriar wanderer named Parisa. And Parisa tells them what to do because
Parisa says,
figure that out on their own.
Take a short stick and pike it, you leather-headed berk, or I'll put your name in the dead book. And you might be like, what the fuck is that? Because nowhere else in the 3 books is there a glossary of sigil slang. Isn't that sad, Rob?
That is sad. Anyway, Parisa is a sigil tout, which is like a guide, and she'll tell you what to do. There are literally 1-sentence descriptions of like 6 or 7 different places, but that's it. Guess there's more detail in the other books, but not a lot more detail. And you're not really given any reason to do anything except follow Parisa to where she tells you that you should go.
And in a real like example of how this campaign writing drops the ball, the players run into some planar philosophers, a chance for you as the dungeon master.
So mad.
To introduce the factions, which if you go back and listen to our original Planescape episode, we absolutely love. And what's happening here? Guess what? A bunch of NPCs are talking to each other. And how can the players interact with this? Well, they can...
They've got 3 options. They can say, oh, you're right. Or none of you are right. You know, you could basically just like pick. And here's what annoys me about this. 1, Matt's completely correct. You got to like talk to yourself for a couple minutes to like list out their arguments. 2, you are given 1 sentence on what they believe. If you want to have an actual philosophical discussion, if you want to role play this in an interesting way, you are going to be on your own to make up anything of consequence, especially if the characters actually engage with any of these arguing philosophers. Like the fucking adventure hangs you out to dry so many times as the DM, and it's so frustrating. It's just like, it's so lazy. Write some sample dialogue to at least like, you know, provide an example of what's going on. I mean, don't do this in the first place, but like, you know,
or give an interesting situation for the players to engage with. You know, this is Sigil. There's a dead angel that's corpse is rotting and super speed in the middle of the street. An anomaly. Players can investigate why. Maybe it gives a clue to something that's happening later, like the multiverse is out of balance. A bunch of people, a crowd gathers around. The players can investigate. You know, one of the, what were the factions here? A Minds, an Athar person explains to the players, this is because the angels, the gods are fake and their power is a sham. The players say, oh, really? There's got to be a better way to do this kind of encounter. I mean,
I love factions and I love a fake fantasy, like religious philosophical argument. I love to drag my players into that, but this is not the way.
Well, Rob, let's say you pull this off really well. Let's say you get your players hooked and they get into all this philosophical debate, something that will not happen as written,
Sure.
But let's just say it happens. How important will these factions be for the rest of our campaign?
0. Not at all. There's not even a hint that any of these factions might matter later. So I'm already mad that it's done poorly, but it's also a waste of time.
Rob, speaking of factions, 3 members of the Harmonium, planar cops, show up and attempt to arrest the characters for, quote, crimes against the multiverse. The characters must escape because if they don't, the adventure ends. And the adventure is written so that they have to escape. The NPC will bail them out if they're not up to the task. So my question is, how does the Harmonium know that there are glitches? And I think my players' first sort of conclusion to this would be, well, we don't know what happened to us, but the Harmonium knows something. We should go to the Harmonium immediately, or like kidnap a Harmonium member and like get information out or something. No, you cannot do that. The Harmonium doesn't know, and these planar cops never show up again. However, the players can't stay in Sigil now.
Two things about this. 1, you're absolutely right. When I was reading this, I was like, wait, they have to escape? My initial inclination was like, well, guess we better go in and see what they have to say. Maybe it'll give us some clues as to what's happening. No, you have to escape. You have to evade or defeat the Harmonium. Second thing, remember your friendly Barrior tout, Parisa? She runs away. You never see her again. That's it.
Nope.
No,
Bye.
never see that NPC another time. Speaking of NPCs that you never see another time, there's one called Pharaoh, a Shadarkai spy, who works for the Big Bad, which we haven't gotten to yet. Don't worry about it. It's not important. Who will bail you out if your players somehow fail to intuit that they're supposed to run away. And there's a lot of information on this Pharaoh, more than there has been on any NPC that we've encountered.
I'm like,
so far.
This is going to be really interesting. This person will show up
Do you
a lot.
think that this Pharaoh person is important or even appears elsewhere in the campaign? No, they do not. There's wait, do they?
No,
I don't
they
think
don't. They were given 3 of their alternate things, and also I'm not sure why Pharaoh is working. The one piece of information I want, which is why is Pharaoh working for the Big Bad, is not given.
Not given. And as far as I know, you never find out. All right, on to the second part of chapter 2.
The players have to go through Undra Sigil, and there's some linear boxed encounters that are just kind of a joke. They run into the one joke Planescape faction.
I did
like the Cakers.
The Cakers. It was the first thing that I enjoyed in the entire the coterie of cakes. They're funny. They're crazy cake people. There's some fun art, but otherwise it's just just some annoying stuff to run your players through to slow them down.
And then we're on to chapter 3, the Casino of Distractions, or Fortune Favors the Bold. It's a casino with games you can play for rules playing that game.
Woo!
And you're basically told the Big Bad, which the players don't know is the Big Bad, the important NPC will meet with them, play some games. Hopefully they have some money to play some games. They can play the dice game Pig with a vampire. They can spin a slot machine that has a 1 in 100 chance of winning a magic item and a 1 in 10 chance of winning something practically useless. So I don't know why you would waste your time on it as not like as a player, but as the table, right? Is it worth it for everyone? Because you can only roll once to see if they have a 1 in 100 chance of winning a magic item. It's a future casino.
It's under different circumstances, this might be okay. I do like putting games of chance in my role-playing games. All of these are pretty paper thin, though. I did kind of like the Duodrone slot machines. That was a clever bit. I liked that.
Here's a detail I noticed that I thought was interesting. There's a bunch of magical screens, right, that show through sensors all parts of the casino, right? I watch my players, Rob watches me, and the eye in the sky, it sees everything, right? Okay, get it. It's a casino.
It's a casino.
There's Nothics watching the screen, right? It's just like today in our casinos from the 70s onwards. Rob, can I read you a bit of text from the original Planescape setting?
Yes, please do.
Sure, this is a weird place, but it ain't science fiction. Don't stick in stuff that isn't medieval in flavor. It's pretty obvious that spaceports won't belong, but a DM's got to resist the urge for things like blasters as neat weapon, magical devices that feel a lot like computer networks, intracity teleportation chambers, and crystal ball phone systems. Listen, there's nothing sacred about the second edition Planescape setting. You can change things, but the cool thing about Sigil is in order to find out information or to do things is it still functions as a dirty medieval city, despite being maybe the most important place in the universe, right? And I think that's cool. And if you're going to come up with something new, it should be better and not lazy.
I don't hate the screens. I'm pretty ambivalent about them, but I gotta agree that I don't think they add anything. If you want to evoke a modern casino or so that it makes sense for players, have those Nothics or have somebody have them in one of those Minority Report chairs, and they're just doing clairvoyance, clairaudience, or scry all day. There are tools in the setting already for constant surveillance. You don't need them to be watching screens like they're literally in a modern day casino. You know,
sometimes
I mean,
this
doing this as like a joke or a bit can be funny. This doesn't feel very like well done. They are, you know, I did like, there's an ice lounge where there's a white dragon who gambled away all of his hoard. I liked him. That was the second thing. Good NPC. Second thing that I enjoyed in the whole adventure. But yeah.
This reminds me of something from the player's book of just like ever so slightly missing the mark, but in a way that could have a big impact if you think too hard about it.
Yeah.
It really only matters to people like me, but like getting Sigil wrong as just a magic modern city as opposed to a grimy medieval place. Because if you miss the mark there, like the point of Sigil not being modern and not having a bank, which this one does, or a telephone system, is that it's about who you know. It's because if you're doing a Planescape campaign, the plane you're on is infinite, and there's a lot of planes that are also infinite. The world is too big. So what the dungeon master controls is who knows what and where you can go, right? You need the portal key to go to the plane that you want to go. Therefore, I can structure my plot around getting this portal key as opposed to you can go anywhere, right? And sure, you can plane shift or whatever, but like that doesn't get you to the right spot in the plane. In the player's book, there's a feat that lets players use a portal without a key. I don't know if you noticed this, Rob, but to me, the whole point of portals is they're just plot devices. They're things for the dungeon master to say, get this thing in order to do X. That means you're going to have to talk to someone who's involved in the sign of one, and they're not going to want to give you the key unless, you know, you do this. You know, it's this kind of thing. Oh, but we just made a feat where you can use the portal. I mean, that's fine in and of it. Like, mechanically, there's no issue with breaking a rule that way.
It does,
but that's
like,
a
miss
plot
the point.
rule, you know? Not a mechanics rule.
Mechanical rule.
And that's what I feel about this part.
I think that's a good way of thinking about it. There's a couple more things. There's some Vecna impersonators, which, again, I thought was funny. I thought that was a pretty good idea. They're like Elvis impersonators, but it's Vecna. Again, not brilliant, but like it made me smile. I would steal this idea. Your play's gonna waste a couple hours, which I'm annoyed about. I can feel that they're annoyed about. And then Shemeshka arrives. Shemeshka is a fox lady, Arcanoloth.
Here's the thing. Shemeshka is both our plot-giving, our quest-giving NPC, and our big bad, right? Common trope of published campaign. However, up to this point, you're given one column of information about the actual plot. And that's all you know so far. So you better keep reading Dungeon Master. But here's the deal. Shemeshka, an evil, daemon who controls a casino, promises the characters that she will dig up information on their past in exchange for a favor. So the players are now doing something that they think is completely unrelated to the plot. In my campaign, my players would say no to this.
I would too. I don't know. So this is obviously.
I would be like, what are our other options? You know,
an annoying fetch quest that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem related to anything that we're doing. It's not a very good offer. It's not very compelling. It tells you in the text that this is a distraction. That there's no point to this. That Shemeshka is just trying to get rid of the players, which doesn't make any sense to me on multiple levels.
Right. This also doesn't make sense.
One, that's dumb. It's dumb for the players. Like, it's not like you can't ever, like, send your players on a wild quest. Goose chase or something, but, like...
Right, do the MMO thing. Bring me 10 Knoll's ears, and then I'll give you the item, whatever.
But that should really be limited, and it should be part of something, and you should be sparing. And two, as far as her plan, it kind of makes sense why she does this at the very end when it explains, like, what the deal is. But, like, it's a dumb plan. It doesn't make sense why she would do this instead of literally anything else.
The players are doing this as a distraction. But she says, okay, I need you to go find RO4M, a rogue Modron accountant. And it says this mission is it says in the text right here, this mission is a distraction. She does not expect the characters to return. However, Shemeshka, again, spider spinning webs Arcanoloth, right? They're daemons. The Yugoloths are the master manipulators of the lower planes. She gave them the name and, legitimately kind of sends them to find the one person in the multiverse who can explain her own schemes, who knows about her own schemes.
Yeah, this is insane because if they do find RO4M, then RO4M has answers, and Shemeshka doesn't want that. So why wouldn't she just send them to, like, the prime material plane or something and, like,
find any other creature in the universe?
Strand them anywhere,
Go outdrink Thor in Asgard. That's your quest.
I don't mind, like, a stupid villain that, rather than kill the PCs, they, send them on a wild goose chase or exile them. Like, that keeps the adventure going. But, like, this makes no sense narratively. It is incomprehensible. I couldn't even come up with I'm pretty good at, like, weaving my own interpretations when things don't make sense. I got nothing. Anyway.
The description from the monster manual is, from Fortune's Wheel, Shemeshka manipulates secrets and fates across the plane. Like, if she is a master manipulator, if that is her entire character, why would she send the players on... Okay, she expects them to fail, but why give them this quest in the first place? She just gave them the one piece of information they need to know, which is the name RO4M, right? It's...
We got to get moving. Let's go to...
It's frustrating.
Let's go to part 2. I want to talk about this as little as possible because this whole... All of these chapters are deeply unpleasant to me. But here's the deal. They take Shemeshka's key. They end up in the Outlands. They find a walking castle, which is sort of like their base of operations from here on out.
It's an homage to Dead Gods, which this adventure also references in the Modron March being off course, right? There's a walking castle in Dead Gods. It wasn't interesting in Dead Gods. It isn't interesting in this one. The walking castle is home to a wizard. He's completely boring. He has no personality.
But again, he's there to move the plot forward because your players are idiots and they won't do it unless you have somebody holding their hands. So thank you,
Fiends have taken over the castle. It is completely up to you as the DM to determine their motivation. There's a mimir, a device that records information on a desk. It's broken. The players better find that mimir because it's key to the entire plot. The wizard tells the players that RO4M recently visited and was using the mimir. And we get the basic conceit of the majority of the adventure, which is the players must take the mimir around to the 7 of the gate towns of the Outlands. Gate towns are towns next to other planes. They have a gate to one of the outer planes. And they must take it within 5 feet of a town's gate. And the player must record the information. And the GM is told to track this information.
I groaned out loud when I got to this part of the adventure. I cannot think of anything less interesting or compelling than this as a driving plot force. You have this like sheet and it's like, here's these 7 places they have to visit and write down what they saw. This is interesting.
40 pages out of a 92-page book.
Yeah. This could be interesting as part of a larger plot. If you have players that are interested in like exploration, you give the player that that's playing the like brainy alchemist or something. And if they want to like, do this as an addendum, maybe, but like having this be the center, the meaty chunk of the whole adventure is just, I cannot think of any reason why my players would agree to do this. It's so boring.
It's so boring. It also just doesn't make sense. The players have to record the information, but the mimir has to be taken next to the gate. Does the mimir record the information or do the players record the information? Like, because it's confusing.
It doesn't help that all of the gate towns that they go to are, they're fine in the lore, but as written, they're unbelievably tedious, and the process is exactly the same at each one. They get there, they try to restore the data, and then, oops, you have to go do a fetch quest before you can go to the gate. Not a single one of them. You can walk up to the gate. There's somebody there who's like, oh, our gate is closed because there's a war on. You need to go find out why there's a war on. Blah, blah, blah. It's every single one is exactly the same.
And there's 7 of these. So your players are like, after the third one, are going to be, begging for
so pissed off. And they're likely to try to like get around these. They're going to be like, well, can I sneak up to the gate? Can I like cast Dimension Door to get to the gate?
Cast invisibility?
The adventure provides for that? Absolutely not.
No.
You're just supposed to do these obnoxious waste of time fetch quests.
A smart party, and this would be really funny to see in like a parody video or something, would absolutely be able to do maybe not all of them, but like 6 of the 7 with second level spells and lower.
Yes,
and
easily.
If you were good at playing Dungeons and Dragons, the like mechanical little tricks of the trade, you could absolutely get a device to the gate. But it's assumed, and this is the other annoying thing about the gates, is so we have this adventure book, right? But it's part of a box set which gives us information about the Outlands. Each of the gate chapters is only 4 pages. But the information about the gate towns themselves is another 2 pages per gate town in another book. So every time you want to run one of these 7 chapters that, again, make up the majority of the adventure, you have to have like 2, you have to reference 2 books. Like, why not put, it would only add like 14 pages to put the information about the gate towns right next to the adventure where you need to run the gate towns. It just makes me mad. Let me give you, I have in here. Here's the deal I will make with you, because we're running low on time and we're getting angry. I have 2 sentences about each of the gate towns, and then you're allowed to respond with 1 sentence expressing your like or disgust.
Okay, that's good. Let's do it. Let's
all
roll.
right.
We should go through each of the gate towns again.
Yeah. Again, organization terrible. Here we go. Automatia. You have to find a chaos agitator who, quote, stole a book to remind Automatia's residents that even Modrons aren't perfect. She'll sell it back to the players, or you can kill her, or you can just wait in line through the bureaucracy to go to the gate.
Dumb. I hate it, but after reading the rest of them, I hated it probably less than the others, but it's dumb.
It really gets you into the cosmic struggle between law and chaos, huh?
It sure does.
Okay, cursed. There's a father that refused to kill someone, and his son died. He's now a petitioner, doesn't quite make sense, and needs an escort out of the city. If you help him out, he takes you to a tunnel and then shows you where the secret passage is. At the end, 3 mercy killers show up and try and kill you.
If I'd had a physical copy of the book, I would have thrown it across the room. This is just like an amazing waste of time. It's clearly just there to slow your players down.
I honestly got excited about this next one, but I was let down. Excelsior. There's a mystery.
Excelsior!
There are many missing residents. The cops tell you there's a tiefling that they are pretty sure who's done it, but there's no clues. So you can collect clues, but like there's not enough clues to link it to this adventure, especially if you miss the one. It has no greater link to any of the themes about this adventure, but it's got sunflies. Yeah, it's not the worst one.
It's not the worst one. I like an investigation. You're not really given enough to make a good investigation, and it doesn't connect anything. Another waste of time.
Also, like, what an investigation where the cops are like, this is the villain, prove it for us. And also, like, yeah, it's just like you really have to make the connection between sunflies, sunflies, is that what they're called?
Yeah, it's sunflies,
and strange lights, and that the sunflies are helping with these, like, murder soul traffic thing. Anyway, let's see. Faunel. Gnolls attack. Everyone's a talking animal. A sloth asks the players to find the killer's camp. Then the players have to go in order to 3 camps of talking animals. Herbivores, who tell them to go talk to the predators. Predators, who tell them to go talk to the flying animals in succession before the last one just tells them where the camp is. Then they can go and murder the gnolls.
I hate it.
Rob's getting worn down. We got 2 more to go. Glorium. Let's see. They get attacked by tatzel worms as they go to the gates. They can cross the lake again and again get attacked by tassel worms. And then when they get to the end, they can go somewhere else that's also getting attacked by tassel worms and fight a really big tassel worms. Also, there's some other heroes attacking that tassel worm.
This one was vaguely interesting to me, but the plot was so convoluted that I couldn't follow it, and I wasn't sure why I was supposed to care about anything. Not the worst one, but also just ultimately...
It's ruined by the fact that you just fight the same creature 3 times.
Yeah.
Where you could see a better adventure to be like, you're in the hero town of like Asgard, like outdo the heroes with a hero deed. But it's super boring. Oh, this is the war one. Oh God, this one was super confusing in that there's a war going on. The gate keeps getting attacked, and the players keep getting asked for help, and the answer to why it is there's like a psychic person on the other side, but there's like no way for the players to figure out this mystery, and then eventually they're supposed to
figure out who the traitor is or who the informant is on this side of the gate. I can't figure out how they could possibly figure that out in any like reasonable way, and ultimately some guy just like tells them. This one was very frustrating. I did not like this one at all.
There's a gray slot, but it has a ring of mind shielding. So good luck trying to use detect thoughts to... Why would you put the ring of mind? I don't know. Just punish your players, I guess. And then last one, Sylvania. In the millionth time, the players come upon 2 people arguing. This one is filled with fake games. Wizards loves fake games in their adventures where you roll a die to see how well you did at the games. And then you have to make a godling feel better.
The general plot, the Empyrean is sad and you have to make them feel less sad. That one I kind of found amusing. Everything else about this chapter I hated. Wasted time.
There are some random events that were given in a next chapter that are supposed to happen between your things. You can come across a baseball game of Celestials and Fiends.
I like this one. It's angels in the Outlands. Get it? It's funny. There's some art of like angels playing baseball. I liked it. It's dumb, but it's dumb in a way that amused me.
It's just, this one needed another layer for me to be any good at all. Like, there's angels and demons playing a baseball game. Hey,
baseball,
get it?
Matt.
See, outside of the mortal plane, they're friends. Like, yeah, I get it. That's Planescape. I've read this for a long time, but like, is there another mystery or a clue to uncover or something to do?
Point.
No, you just play baseball. Like, great
There's
conceit,
also...
lazy execution. There's also a time dragon who shows up out of time. Like, he shows up not in the right order. Is like, hey, I'll give you this thing that you'll need later. Oh, hey, I haven't met you. Oh, hey, I've known you for a long time. Like, he shows up out of time, and then you can run across some lizard folks who like to pump.
So the time dragon's interesting. Kind of doesn't make any sense. You can get a really powerful item from it, which is cool. It also just sort of like seems like it's from a different adventure. And I did like the Jim Bro lizard folk. Again, nothing really going on here aside from, hey, look, they're lizard folk who like to lift weights. Isn't that funny? And they've got a god that really likes to lift weights. Aside from that, there's just,
in conclusion, for the majority of the adventure, this middle part, just like these 3 random encounters we talked about, some of the setups are kind of interesting. There's a depressed god. That's interesting. I like that hook. Or lizard folks who are pumping iron, but like the literal point of each of these, the only thing that's going on is there's a depressed god. You need to make it feel better. There's lizard folk pumping iron. Do you want to pump iron too? Like, there's nothing more to any of these. It's like they came up with funny ideas and then didn't add anything. They don't all have to connect back to the central plot or themes or anything like that, but there's just nothing more for your players to do other than participate. It's like watching a parade go by. A parade.
Well, and I was saving this for the end, but like my overall impression of this adventure is it's a theme park ride. You are just being taken through and being shown, look, it's Sigil. look at all these parts of Sigil and Planescape. Enjoy them.
You won't get to
Experience them.
enjoy them. You won't get to do things with them. You know, the whole
Right.
point of a role-playing game of being
I'm
an
not
active
endorsing
participant.
this, Matt. I'm just saying.
Sorry, sorry, I forgot, Rob. I'm so mad.
I'm just like, clearly, it's like, look, you're going through the the haunted mansion in Disneyland, and like, look, there's this thing and this thing and this thing. You can't interact. You can't really like meaningfully experience it. You're just along for the ride. Anyway,
I mean, we had this critique of the last box set we did, which was Spelljammer, in that you are on a, but that one was just more like you're on rails. You are doing
that was
the
wrong.
thing.
We were wrong to say that because we had not experienced the true like theme park ride until we got to this. Spelljammer, you have autonomy. You can do things. You're just sort of like on rails. Yeah, that's much different.
In Spelljammer, you're on a railroad where you can go eat breakfast in the Amtrak car and stick your head out the window and shoot a like bison from the side. You can do things. In this one, you're not just on rails, you're like watching, right?
Yeah.
Your arm, it's like, do you remember in what's that Vonnegut book about time travel in Dresden?
It's Slaughterhouse 5, right? Yeah, you're experiencing time on rails, right? But like the way that it actually works, the way time really is more. But
this is experiencing a role-playing game like the aliens explained to Billy Pilgrim, where you're on a railroad and you are looking through a pinhole as the world passes you by.
That's exactly what this is like. Okay. At the end of once you fill the
Chapter 13.
mosaic Mimir with knowledge from your obnoxious theme park tour guide safari around the Outlands, you go to the worst dungeon I have ever read, the Spire.
The Secrets of the Spire. It's completely linear.
Yeah,
There's no way to interact or move around in any way.
There's literally nothing interesting in here. Like, I didn't find a single thing and the book just tells you when you feel like it, your players reach the end, and it's just like so fucking lazy. It's just like, I don't need a map, but don't just be like, here's 3 encounters. Just, I don't know, whenever you feel done, they're done.
The dungeon, they have a Romani guide. If you remember from earlier editions of Planescape, the Romani are natives to the Outlands. They're true neutral. You know, tell my wife I said hello.
Hello, real Mani. Everyone, I keep thinking Matt is saying Romani. It's real Mani.
Real Mani. I just can't tell.
They're neutrals. Yes.
Filthy neutrals. I don't know where they stand.
What drives a man to neutrality?
The one encounter I thought was good, there's like an avatar of the god of piercers who...
that was cool. Sorry, that was the one thing I liked. Yes.
If this had happened earlier in the adventure where you would have time to pay it off, it would be funny because the god develops a vendetta against the characters.
This is actually sick. There's this like demigod of piercers, and if it misses, it gets so fucking like obsessed with your players that it chases them across the plains. However, this adventure's almost over, so it doesn't fucking matter. This was a good idea, though. I would steal this idea. That rules.
Yeah. There's like no more dungeons after this. The Romani will betray them because, and they will tell them they are also looking for R04M, the Modron, and you're never told as the dungeon master how did they know about it? Like I don't know. The Romani have a cool look, and when the Romani guide that's actually assassin that wants to betray them. The neutral guide will betray and try and kill them. It can kill R04M, the person that it actually needs to kill to prevent things from going forward in a single hit.
Yeah.
So if you played
I'm pretty sure if it does that, ends the adventure immediately. Right. But doesn't
playing
provide
this
for that.
hyper intelligent assassin as written. There's no reason why they wouldn't kill R04M on their first action, and then the adventure should end at good riddance. But we've got 2 more chapters, and the players find R04M, and shocking, Shamishka, our NPC big bad, has betrayed them all along. They need to... They need to. Here's the plot. Is the Modron part of the Modron March that got turned awry or started early because of the events in Dead Gods? Again, who cares? That really isn't the best adventure in the world, despite its high ranking. Have gotten stuck in the lair of one of the Beholder deities and have been marching in circles. And some say, at least this adventure says, the purpose of the Great Modron March is to catalog and database the entire multiverse of the Outer Planes. And these ones have been forced to. Shemishka's plan is to put up a big scary skull next to them. And so when they march by it thousands and thousands of times in a circle, they think there's too many demons in the Outlands, which means hell is too powerful. And that's Shemishka's plan, is to then release these Modrons back to Mechanicus, so they'll give their skewed version of the multiverse, which means Mechanicus will, I don't know, launch an invasion of the Outer Planes, which is, I guess, good for the Yugolas because they can sell them weapons. That's the big reveal. But again, the players can't really figure how they fit into this as a glitch.
Yeah,
There's no reveal on that.
I like Modrons. I like the Great Modron March. It's not like this isn't the worst part as far as, an overall plot goes. It's just very poorly, just kind of thin. But as I'm kind of on board with it if everything else weren't terrible. But anyway,
Shemishka put them there. Why can't she release them? Because again, the big danger, the ticking time clock now is if they get out,
it'll... the end of the adventure, Matt. We got to get through the end of the adventure.
Okay. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. All right, so you rescue R04M. You magically get back to Sigil. Doesn't matter how.
There's more casino activities.
It literally doesn't matter how. The book's however they get back is fine.
Again, Planescape, about portal travel between places. These should be interesting things for your players to do. It should be magical and cool. Nope, just they get back to Sigil. And guess what? They're stuck in the casino again.
Fortune's Wheel. There's a bunch of boring,
time to play some games.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's interesting concepts. They can bet on adventurers in dungeons.
They got something called Dungeon Land, which is basically the Hunger Games, which is kind of a funny idea. But again, it's literally just there to take up space. It's not important to the plot.
Like all of these, you tell them what it is, and the players go, "Oh, that's neat. I guess I bet some coins on it. Let's roll some dice." There's no way to interact with Dungeon Land. The players are not stuck in Dungeon Land. Someone they know is not in Dungeon Land. It's just there for you to watch. And eventually you get to Shemishka, the big bad, and she reveals that she has killed the players in their previous incarnation, and then she killed them again, but they kept coming back. But
hey, look, finally,
an
explanation. But
again, she also tells them she killed them one time and imprisoned them. So apparently the glitch is not all glitching. It can sometimes be diverted, but they don't have their memories. But there's no answer for why they are glitches. Why are they glitches? Again, I know Shemishka was lying to them, but I want an answer so that I can have a cool conclusion for my players. And it literally says in the adventure, the players provide how they ran afoul of Shemishka in a previous life, which, I mean, that's a cool thing you can do, but that would be cool if the players gave that at the beginning of the campaign as part of their backstory, and then only later was Shemishka discovered. It's just, what's the point? What's the drama to be hey, I killed you in a previous life. Okay, everyone go around the table and tell me how you were killed in a previous life. Anyway, if they defeat Shemishka, they get a
this
level
also
jump.
Not important, but this is a real wet fart of a boss fight. There's some flunkies and Shemishka runs away at the first point. It's just the whole thing is just a disappointment.
The players, when they free their incarnation, and this is one of the things I saw touted in the reviews, is there's a level jump from 11 to 17. But again, there's nothing story-wise that provides interest to this. They unlock another incarnation of themselves. They merge with themselves, and now they're level 17, which is going to be, a couple hours of bookkeeping at the table. I just don't get it. Like, if you had, for example, let the players make a high-level concept at the beginning of the campaign and in, like, an opening flashback scene, kill that concept, and then later you bring that concept back, that would be cool. But as it stands, like, oh, okay, you're level 17 now. Cool.
The level jump is weird, and in a different adventure, it might be fine.
Oh, here, I love this. The conclusion says they can meet up with Pharaoh. And the adventure, like, this must have been written by someone who wrote a different section, assumes that Pharaoh is an ally. If I was the player here, Pharaoh betrayed me to the person who's killed me multiple times and tried to, like, derail my multiversal existence and sent me to the Outlands for, like, a bad reason. Like, why would I want to meet Pharaoh? I would want to kill Pharaoh, right? Did someone else write this? Why would you want to meet with Pharaoh?
Yeah. Sorry, I jumped ahead. I completely forgot there is, like, a final section, which is that they go to Tyrant Spiral, which is another big stupid dungeon where they find this section of the Modron March, and they have to rescue the Hexton and tell him that, you know, hey, you fucked up. And then here's the big payoff, Matt. I know you're gonna love this. I know you love this. I know you love this. Based on how well they recorded their data in the Mimir,
this is so gamey and stupid.
They influence the outcome of the Great Modron March. If they recorded the data accurately, X01, this Hexton, returns as a calm, logical Modron, and everything is right. God is in his heavens, and all is right with the world. If they recorded some skewed, some accurate information, then it is inconsistent. The Hexton reactivates and exhibits dramatic mood swings. Maybe doesn't make it home? I don't know. And then if the players are skewed in their reporting skewed. Skewed. What did I say? Skewed.
It's just a funny word.
It's a very funny word. If they're biased in their recording of what the gates are like, then you change X01's personality forever, potentially along your preferred alignment lines.
And it's also like, as a dungeon master, like, the players, you can give the players or photocopy a sheet for them to write this all down, which, again, seems like a really boring way of doing things. Like, there's no way to really make this, like, how accurate should you be in recording information about the gate towns you went to? Like, I'm just trying to imagine any of my players, from the best note taker to the worst, to the funniest, to the like, most straightforward, and where I would judge it and be like, this one was accurate, this one was skewed.
I don't hate the idea that the players can, like, put their fingers on the scales of, like, cosmic justice, but, like, the way that this is executed makes no sense, and there's no way the players would know that's what they were doing. It's dumb it's just like, I'm just baffled by it, to be honest.
Yeah. I hate everything about the conclusion. Obviously, Shamishka gets away.
I also really hate, like, once they've done this, obviously, you probably, even listening to us ramble about this, are like, well, it's probably important that the Modrons get back to Mechanus, right? There's the next part is like, whatever. Here's some, figured out. Here's some potential ways they might get back. I don't know. Here's 5 sentences. And it's just like, that seems important. I don't know. Maybe provide some detail. It just made me so mad. And then, and then they maybe meet up back with their friends.
What friends?
Aren't their friends? Pharaoh.
There was a Pharaoh who almost got them killed. And was in service of a person they have, by the campaign, had to try and defeat, or a tout that they met at the beginning and took them to a place, and when they almost got arrested was like, fuck you guys, I'm out. Those are their friends that are left. There's Mort, but I assume they took Mort with them. But again, this last chapter actually made me the maddest because first of all, it's like you can go back to Sigil, like outside of the Shemishka's casino or whatever. I'm like, isn't there a warrant out for them? Finally, we'll get some faction conflict with the Mercy Killers and the governors and the people who think the laws of the multiverse are being violated. Nope, they forgot about that. And Shemishka gets away, but also you've skipped from level 11 to 17, which really makes like Planescape, again, listen to our earlier episode about it, is meant to be a low and mid-level campaign setting. Like, the less plane hopping your characters can do, it's fine, right? But now they're 17th, so I guess they're in the powers now, and you've got to come up with a completely different kind of adventure for them. I don't know this, and then the Lady of Pain shows up for the first time. Is like gives them a slight nod. Like why? I don't know.
Good work. So yeah, that's it. Also, we've spent a long time talking, but like this happens. Like I got to this and I was like, wait, that's it? This is the end of the adventure? Like it's short and ends very abruptly. I didn't waste that much time reading this. If I had spent any time playing it, I would be incredibly disappointed. It already felt like a huge waste of my time. I don't know what happened here. Wizards doesn't do everything to my liking, but they are okay to above average to good at writing adventures.
No.
Have been getting better, I thought. This is a catastrophe.
I was thinking back about earlier adventures. It's like some of the first ones were like, okay, not interesting, kind of disasters. Then they got interesting, but needed some serious fixes. I think we both really liked the Icewind Dale.
Love the Icewind Dale one.
I
thought that was
parts
pretty close
of
to good.
of Avernus. We liked Dragon Heist.
I liked
even though
Avernus
it didn't have a heist.
a lot. It needed a lot of work, but I liked Descent to Avernus.
There were ones that were
Dragon
good
Heist.
and interesting. They needed like a lot of work, and then I feel like we've gone way downhill. Like just in summary, like this is a Planescape adventure where there's no meaningful interaction with the factions. The players do not travel to another plane. The majority of the campaign is either like non-dungeon dungeons, just dungeon encounters that you give them one after another without any like freedom of exploration that a dungeon provides, or 7 repeated annoying quests that are not fleshed out in any way and sometimes don't make sense at all. And then the plot ends and the plot doesn't make any sense if the players were paying attention, which God, I hope they weren't. I hope they were, I hope you played this adventure, if you did, stoned out of your mind, where people said funny words like Shemishka and skewed and you laughed. And then you're like, oh, that ends, because if you didn't, you would notice, why did she send us on this? Wait, what's the deal with our glitch? Like, does it matter? What caused it? Was it the Modrons marching that caused the glitch? That's it? Like, okay, I guess we're powerful now. All right.
I can think of things you would do to fix this.
Yeah, I've got
but I'm just
two suggestions.
Just so exhausted that I just can't even imagine putting the effort in. I gotta give this. I don't know. We don't actually give ratings, but like this.
No, we've never given a rating.
If we did, this would be the lowest we have ever gotten. Just
Andy Daly from Review, half star, eating 15 pancakes. This is.
I cannot. I don't. I'm just.
Again, this adventure is not worth fixing. The idea of a glitch is cool. If it were me, the glitch would be connected to the dead essence of Asokar, the god of portals, who once tried to take over Sigil, so that the player's glitch, and when a new version of them appeared, it always was through a portal, like a planar traveler coming out of a color swirl in the astral plane or something. They always show up, and it's because they're actually the, what's left of the divine spark of Asokar. And so that's why they're important to Shemishka and the Lady of Pain, and maybe there's a bigger mystery on that. That's just the biggest idea out there. It doesn't actually help you fix this adventure because there's not anything in here worth fixing.
Yeah, there's basically nothing here. It seems designed to showcase Sigil in the Outlands, but it doesn't do a very good job of that. And even if it did, that's not fun. Let your players have an adventure. Don't take them on a, yeah. Yeah.
Even if the adventure part was boring, which again, day-to-day sessions of playing this campaign for 6 months are going to be, because they're not interestingly designed. They're bad design, bad dungeons, bad little one-shots at the town. The interesting idea of the glitch might have something to salvage, but like if I wrote, oh, hey, my players can't die in that, they can die, but a new version of them appears. I came up with a cool idea. The first 2 questions I would want to answer is, how can I incorporate their past or alternate selves or past lives into adventures? And then 2, what caused the glitch so the players can either figure it out, fix it, live a normal life, or like harness it to do something cool. And this adventure does neither of those things, right? Which, as far as I can tell, are the 2 most logical questions I would have after putting those out there. And it just baffles me how this made it past any of the writers, any of the editors. They should all feel bad for this adventure.
They all need to go sit in the corner and think about what they've done. I'm tired. I'm angry. Matt, do you have anything else to say about this adventure before we go? I loved the Planescape DM screen. It's really great. It's one of those 4-fold ones, which gives you a lot of space, and it's also the lower kind. Rob, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes your DM screen is too tall. It's annoying. This one's a low one. I love a low DM screen. You want to be able to look over it, but it needs to. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So DM screen in this box. That's great. Thanks for listening, everyone. More episodes on the Patreon. We're usually not too mad. Patreon.com/DungeonMasterNone. Link in the show notes for the Discord. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Keep rolling them dice.